Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Zorgo here, and today I'm going to try to give the beginners out there a guide to costumes in City of Heroes. Now, you may be thinking, well, what in the world would I need a guide for costumes in City of Heroes? You've already watched my other videos, or you've found out how to get to the emulation servers for City of Heroes. You've already created an account on an emulation server and seen that costume creator and gone through all of the options. Your head was swimming, but you think you figured it out. It's pretty easy going. And then you got in game and you're like, sweet, I've got my hero. But then you play for a few days and you're like, yeah, I didn't like this color choice. Or, I like that one thing that I was going to do but didn't. You're thinking, man, am I locked into this choice forever? Well, absolutely not. The first thing that a beginner needs to know is that you can change your costume, and you can change it in various locations. Right behind me here is Ms. Liberty. She's one of the hero trainers, and you have these in pretty much every zone. And at any one of these, you can click on them, and one of the options is not only to train, but to customize your appearance. Now, you can spend your influence that you've been getting in missions to be able to change everything about your costume that you want. You are limited to the same body style that you chose in the beginning and any manipulations you did with that body style. But other than that, the sky's the limit on what you can do to change your costume. But that's not the only thing. The other thing is that you're going to get additional costumes as well. In fact, depending upon what emulation server you're on, will tell you exactly what kind of costume options you have. Like, for instance, right now I'm playing on the Thunderspy server. It's one of the more popular ones. And if I go to Ms. Liberty and I click on her to customize my appearance, the Thunderspy server has already given me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slots for which I can create different costumes. So as long as I have the influence, I can go in here and I can create new costume sets. But depending upon your server, you may also want to check your email as well, or join your server's Discord to find out what other perks might be available. For example, on Thunderspy, I had a lot of free Tailor tokens as well. So like at level 1, I could go in and go to the trainer right here, and I could fill out every single one of my costume slots if I wanted to do that right away. Some of the other servers will have you unlock slots, uh, which is like they did in the original game. Originally, you came in with one, and at like various levels, you did missions to unlock other costumes. And you could have up to 5 originally, I think. But depending upon your emulation server, is going to depend upon how many costume slots you have and whether you have access to them at the beginning or not. Now then, once you've got your costume and once you've got it set and you've got or multiple costumes, there's a couple other tricks that you can do as well. One is that I want to tell you the slash commands to help explain how to change your costumes on the fly pretty easily. Now, one of the ways you can change your costumes is you can simply go to the trainer. You can customize your appearance, and then you can choose the next costume slot. And when you come out of the trainer, you're going to be in that costume. So that's one way to do it. But there's also a slash command that you can use as well that I'm going to tell you right now. So the slash command to change your costume is going to be slash cc space, and the cc obviously for costume change, and then the number of the costume that you want to change to. Now this is also a special consideration that you have to take into account because it numbers them a little slightly not in, well, it's not quite as intuitive as you might think. So when you go to customize your appearance, you see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, my first costume, the first one that I made at character creation here, that is not costume number 1. That is actually costume 0. So if you look at your sheet, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. As you can see, I haven't done a new costume. It auto-fills these with the original costume you created, and then you create them using, or recreate them using influence. Just like the character creation, which you probably saw me scrolling through. So, my prime costume is costume 0. So that means that if I wanted to change into my second costume, that's actually costume 1. So it'd be /cc space 1. Boom. Now you can only do this 30 seconds, every 30 seconds. So you got to hold on to your costume for a little while. There's no instantaneous changing between all of them. And if you try to switch too early, then you can actually see that, like, I'll try to change into my third costume, which is number 2. You get a little message saying, see, I must wait 9 seconds to change my costume again. But if I give it just a little bit longer, ta-da! And I can change into the third costume. So CC space and then the number that you want to use. But that's not the only cool thing that you can do with costumes. The other thing that you can do is they have certain emotes that allow you to change your costume. And this is pretty neat, especially like for the role-playing aspect of it. Like, so you could be Clark Kent, and then you can use an emote to change into Superman. Well, I don't think they have a phone booth, but they do have some pretty nifty ones. So, like for example, I've made 3 macros down here for my suits, and I'll make the 4th one to show you how it's done. But you can get various macros going. So, ta-da! Turn back into it using the emote. And then of course I'd have to wait 30 seconds to be able to change into the next one, but I'd be able to do that as well. Let's see, what, 15 seconds before I can change it again. Da 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 da. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! And then they've got a whole slew of these that you can do. Like that one that I did was lightning. The one that I did before I think was like a smoke bomb or something like that. But in any case, there are a couple of pages up that still list all of the CC emotes, and I'm going to link that in the description so you can go and you can choose the emotes that you want for your character to be able to do. Let's see if this last one will work. Yeah, so evil laugh, and turn into my evil mummy. So it's a pretty fun thing that you can do. Now, one of the other things that you need to understand, now this guy isn't in a super group, I don't believe. No, he's not. But if you are in a super group, then your super group leader has designated super group colors for you to be able to use. And when you enter SG mode, and then you hit the settings button down here, it will allow you to change your SG mode color combination to those preset choices. And if you enter SG mode, there are certain benefits that your supergroup gets for being in that mode. And I'm sure it kind of depends upon which emulation server you're on, what rewards you get out of that. But basically, I think that it helps you build up what you need to, create the supergroup base of your dreams. Now, not all of the servers have this next costume feature, but a few of them do. And it's something that the original game never had, but people wanted for years and years and years and years. There's a certain class in the game called the Mastermind. And this is a Mastermind right here, and Masterminds have pets. And my pets is a zombie horde. And it comes with these stock characters. Pretty cool animation. I like them. It would work really well with my, storyline that I've got going, my theme that I have going for my character, if I just wanted to keep them like that. But if I really wanted to drive my theme home, on some of these emulation servers, like I'm on Thunderspy right now, you can actually change these guys into one of your costumes that you have. So the way that you would do that is by renaming them with a special command. So for example, if I decided to rename Ramses, so I'm going to go up to him on my pet window, I'm going to click, I'm going to go rename, and then if I rename him, let's say I'm just going to keep his name Ramses, but then if I put 1, 2, 3, 3 hyphens right in a row, no spaces, and then PC, and that's for player costume, and let's say I'm going to do 1 with him, and OK. You can see it seems like, well, that isn't very cool. Ramses hyphen or apostrophe PC1. Well, let's do the same with 2. We're not there yet. We'll get to it. So I'll name him Aten apostrophe PC. I want him to be 1 as well. OK. For player costume 1. Now I'm going to dismiss them. So I'm going to click on them, dismiss, click, dismiss. And yes, good. My recharge is up. Let's hope this works so I don't have to re-record this. There they are. And so now my pharaoh, undead pharaoh, has a couple of mummies at his disposal to do his bidding instead. Kind of got the thug animation, but that's going to be okay. So on some of the servers, you've got that extra benefit to being on an emulation server. You can change the costume of the minions on your masterminds. It's really, really cool. Now then, I told you I was going to show you how you can make these macros so that you can do these costume changes yourself. And so, if you don't know about making macros in City of Heroes, and you probably don't, basically it's a pretty easy system that they've got. Basically, you create a macro by just going to your chat window and doing /macro, and then you're going to do a space, and then the next thing you type is going to be what shows up on your icon. So the name that you want to give to your macro. So since I've got these CC0, CC1, CC2, I'm going to keep that consistent and go CC3. So the name of it is going to be CC3, and that just tells me that I know that I'm going to be going to my 4th costume slot with this macro. And then you're going to do a space again, and now I need to tell it what macro I want to do. And for those animations, the command is always CCE for costume change emote. And then you're going to do a space, and then you want to do the number of the costume that you want to change into. So in this case, I want it to be 3. And then you're going to do a space again. And then you're going to do the name of the macro that you want to do. So let's say I want to do CC evil laugh. And I know this, and like I said in the description, I will give you the link to all of the different emotes that you can do. But if I have done this correctly, then it's going to create a macro right there. It popped right into my bar, CC3. Now, as long as I've done this correctly, I should get the evil laugh emote and costume change into my third or my fourth costume. Ta-da! And there we have it. Now then, let's say you do mess up, because like all that string that I gave you is actually fairly difficult to remember. And I've done it 1,000 times. I put the name in the wrong place, or I forgot to put the costume number in, or I, missed a space when I needed to have a space. If you ever need to change any of these macros, you can just click on them and edit, and then it gives you the name of the text here. So so you can see editing macro CC3. So it put the name of it that I gave it up here, and this is the command line as if I was doing a slash. So see, I can actually do the same slash command without making a macro at all. Slash CCE space, let's say 0 space CC evil laugh. And if I press that, yep. So you can do these on the fly if you get the method memorized as well. In any case, that's how you edit your macros. There's a lot more that you can do with macros. In fact, in a future video, I want to talk to you guys about the macros that you need to make if you're going to be a mastermind. You eventually, in the higher end of the game, you need to have certain macros to tell them to do what you want them to do. And I'll do a video on how to do that. But there are other fun things that you can do with macros in the meantime if you want to, just as a little asterisk or appendix to this video. If you haven't figured out, a lot of your emotes are listed in the chat bubble here. You click on that and you can go through a whole myriad of options. Now, let's say, for example, one of the things I've noticed is I haven't been able to make this work for a macro when it has multiple words or spaces, and I haven't found a list on the internet that tells me what the actual slash command for these is. But when it's just one, like here, juggle, I think that you should be able to make a macro for that. Or you should be able to do it by just doing slash em for emote, juggle. Yep, and then I start juggling. Now if I wanted to do a macro for that, I would do macro, space, now the name of it, so I'm going to call this juggle, space, and then what I want it to do, which is an emote, and then a space, and then what the emote is. And as long as it's a single word, this works. So let me stop doing the emote for a second, and then, ta-da! So now clicking on the button, I automatically start to do that emote. Now, again, like I said, I haven't found a list for any of these ones that are 2 words. But all of the one-word ones seem to work. And so if anybody does come across a list that tells you how to turn all of these into slash commands, I'd love to do it, because I certainly would love to be able to dance the monkey on the fly with a macro. In any case, I hope that gives you a few ideas about what you can do with your costumes on the emulation servers for City of Heroes. Again, check your individual server that you're playing on to find out what their rules are and what perks they may have given you with costumes. But certainly go in and start making yourself some macros, start giving yourself an alter ego, start looking up the different emotes that you can do your costume changes in, because that's what makes City of Heroes the city that it is. Thanks for watching.